Understanding how hypergamy works allows us to develop a framework of how to better interact with women. So, what is hypergamy? Hypergamy essentially is women are always looking for the best possible option. That's it in a nutshell. You could break it down into it's dualistic, the alpha seed, beta need, and all that kind of stuff, and really understand that women, in order to stay sexually attracted to you, you have to optimize your alpha traits. Okay, that's pretty easy to understand. As long as you give guys things that they can work with, they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And guys can work with this stuff and start doing these things. It's when guys are still in the blue pill fantasy thinking that women have this unconditional love for men that they're like, I shouldn't have to do that. She should just love me for who I am, right? Like, yeah, they don't though. Okay, there's certain things that women are drawn to. And so you need to optimize those things. Okay. So if you don't want to end up in a dead bedroom, you got to optimize those sexually attractive traits. We call them alpha traits. Some of you guys don't like the word alpha and beta. It hurts your feelings. Okay. So we can say guys that women want to bang and guys that women don't want to bang. Okay. That's alpha and beta basically. And then your beta traits, you got to understand too, that in a long-term relationship, women do want both. Right? That's where it becomes dualistic, the alpha seed, beta need. They do want both in the relationship. That means that if you want to have lots of sex until the end of time with this girl, your best chance is optimizing those sexually attractive traits. But in order to keep her around and wanting her to feel safe and secure in the relationship, you've got to sprinkle a little beta on it. You've got to have some kind nurturing traits. I often say it's an 80-20 split. You got to have 80% alpha traits, you got to have 20% beta traits, and then everything should be relatively smooth sailing in a relationship. And the thing is, because of women's hypergamous nature, we have a burden of performance, right? If you look at Breitfeld's law, and now you only have this burden of performance if you want a long-term relationship, okay? And I would venture to say that most of you guys out there tuning in do want some form of long-term relationship, whether it's getting the government involved and getting actually married or just having a long-term relationship on your terms where you don't have to ask Uncle Sam how you're going to break up. In order to keep that relationship going for the longest time possible, you have to be her best possible option, right? That's Breitfeld's law, which goes to say that women, not the men, determine if a relationship's going to take place. Which makes your burden of performance being a man worth keeping, okay? Because if you're a man worth keeping, if she thinks you're her best possible option, she's going to do whatever she can to keep you. That's why we often say, too, that relationships are the woman's job. It's her job to keep you, but it's your job to be a man worth keeping. You only understand that concept if you have a good understanding of hypergamy and women's nature. And then once you understand that and embrace it, you can have a better perspective of women and how they operate. Frame belongs to the man, not the woman, is another way. Just understanding the concept of frame, mental frame. And today's Frame Fridays. And so one of the reasons why I made this topic a topic for Frame Friday is to have the mental frame that Red Pill gives you a positive perspective of women. Yeah. But frame is so important. Understanding whose frame you're operating in, right? And so if you're going to have that dominant masculine presence, if you're going to set the tone and lead the relationship and use hypergamy to your advantage, you have to have the strong mental frame that you are the leader of the relationship, that you're the one that makes the decisions. You're the one that's assertive, decisive, that you don't let her emotions rattle you, that you don't let her manipulate you. You have boundaries, you enforce boundaries, all this kind of stuff. And the funny thing is that works hand in hand with her hypergamous nature. It makes her feel more safe and secure in the relationship when you have that strong mental frame. If you ever read the book, I just had this guy on my podcast a couple of weeks ago. If you ever read the book, The Way of Maids with Men by Diff Larson, it's more of a Christian book, but he uses a lot of red pill praxeology in his book. And one of the things that he talks about is to think of your mental frame kind of like an oyster, right? And it's a safe space for her as the pearl to develop it. And she wants to be able to enter your frame and feel more relaxed into her feminine and feel more like a woman, right? And so that your strong mental frame gives her a safe space, emotional safe space for her to feel that way, feel that security, feel safe enough to relax and be more feminine with you. That's what creates that, is your mental frame and how you operate things. And then, women will do different things to try to test your frame to make sure that you're still the guy that's operating with a strong frame, that you are the strong masculine leader she thinks you are. And as long as you understand that and know how to navigate that sort of thing, she will feel safe and secure. So understanding how frame works and how frame works when it comes to women is paramount, right? We sort of reject this female-centric conditioning, right? Social conditioning trains men to seek approval from women. And what we've realized in this space is that seeking approval from women is one of the quickest ways to turn women off. Right? So we reframe this like women are not there to validate you. So, and when you stop putting women on pedestals and you stop trying to get women's buy-in on things and stop getting women's permission for things and stop getting women's approval on things, you'll find that women find you more attractive because you're not trying to qualify to them all the time. Because going back to hypergamy, understanding that women need to see you as above them in some way, you operate that way, okay? And then when you operate that way, now you can see what it's like when a woman relaxes into her feminine and treats you like an absolute king, okay? Any guy who's read my book, we're past the 8-minute mark, Get Her to F You Again, right? Any guy who's read the book and actually read it and started applying it, okay? Because there's a lot of guys that buy the book and put it on the shelf and don't do fuck all with it, right? But the guys that buy the book or they listen to it on Audible and they're listening to it on repeat and they're applying this in their marriage, I have them DMing me all the time going, dude, it's like night and day. Me doing this stuff, my wife is just like, I just love that I don't have to make decisions. This is so amazing, right? Because women don't want to be doing that stuff. They don't want to be operating in their masculine, but society, the blue pill society is saying, hey, women, be more like men. You got to go out there, you got to go and get your bag, queen. You got to be a boss babe, and you got to compete in the marketplace, the labor marketplace. And when you're competing in the labor marketplace, it puts you more in your masculine. So we have all these masculine women running around thinking that they're boss babes. And then when they finally experience in a loving relationship, a guy that sets the tone and leads and they don't have to make decisions anymore. All of a sudden they're like, this is amazing. I get to be a woman. And so then they start acting like women. And it's a beautiful thing to watch. It's a beautiful thing to watch, right? So us rejecting that female-centric, was it the gynocentric social order, and saying, no, that's not how nature built us as men and women. We have differences. Those differences are meant to complement each other. Let's set the tone and lead that interaction with women in a way that allows them to relax and be more in their natural state. And when we're able to do that, we could see women in their feminine, and then that just creates a better perspective of them. Wouldn't you agree? Guys, let me know. I want to hear from you, especially you guys that have been studying this stuff for a while. Maybe you guys have followed my podcast. Maybe you guys follow other people like Rollo or Ryan or Rich. What's one way the red pill has made you see women in a better light? Let me know in the chat if you're watching live, and if you're watching the replay, drop a comment below, okay? What's one way the red pill has made you see women in a better light? Let me know. Speaking of chats, while you guys are thinking of that, we have a few people in the chat here. Nurse Chick's in the house. She gets this. Hold on. She gets this.
I'm so naughty.
Hold on. Did that play?
I'm going to come.
There we go. Hey, morning, Will. What's going on, brother? Will dropped a 1 in the chat. You guys can hear me. Thank you. Phil Bradley's in the house. Hoorah, Devil Dog. What's going on, man? And Erkin says, good day, folks. What's up, Erkin? How you doing, brother? So yeah, guys, let me know what's one way the red pill has made you see women in a better light. Let me know in the chat or in the comments on the replay, okay? Another one is the idea of that women test, men lead. So shit tests are reframed not as attacks, but as unconscious ways women gauge a man's strength with frame. Right? So tests become opportunities to demonstrate confidence and maintain frame. This is why once you understand how to handle tests, you understand why women test men, you stop getting pissed at it, right? Because whenever I talk about handling women's tests on social media, and I talk about how all women test men either consciously or subconsciously, so you better learn how to handle it. A lot of guys get really mad at that. And they go, fuck that. I ain't playing games. If she's testing me, I'm going to dump her. It's like, okay, bro, but the next girl's going to do it too. They're all wired for it. All women test men, either consciously or subconsciously. Some women test harder than others, but they all do it. So you might as well learn how to handle it. Okay. But once you understand how to handle it, once you understand what it really is, this is where amused mastery comes from. You know, you often hear the concept of amused mastery in this space. It's a natural byproduct of seeing women in action and understanding how they act. They become very predictable creatures. And when you start seeing it, it becomes funny and amusing to you, right? So when a woman's acting a certain way, she's getting mad about, whatever, she's getting flustered about things in life, and she just can't human because of her emotions. Like you stop climbing on her emotional roller coaster and you see her for the goofy bastard that she is, right? what an adorable creature. Okay. And that's where amused mastery comes from, because it's this projection of, you've seen it all before, and you kind of find humor in it, right? But once you see that, you know how to navigate it better. You know not to take whatever she says so seriously, certainly not personally. There's a lot of guys out there that just get really pissed off, about things that women do. Well, when you see women for who they are and you realize they're not men and they shouldn't act like men or whatever, you stop expecting that from them and you start looking at them like, oh, they're adorable, right? I'll pat her on the head, right? But it's also, you look forward to those tests. You almost look forward to them. You're like, because a woman who is completely indifferent to you, who has no attraction to you at all, she's not going to test you. She's not going to test you at all because she has no sexual attraction for you. But if a woman's testing you, it's because she's sexually attracted to you a little bit, and she wants to make sure you're the dominant masculine man she thinks you are, and that's how she finds out, is with these little tests. And as long as you're passing these tests, she's like, damn, this guy's hot. Damn, this guy's sexy. Damn, I can't get my way with this guy. Damn, I can't manipulate this guy. He's sexier than shit.
New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Subscribe now.